Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Amanda Muehlers. I am the founder of Dragonfly Lotus Healing, and I help people heal through emotional release, short-term detox, and meditation. I'm happy to have you here. So today I'm going to be talking about my healing journey and kind of how I came to be doing this work. So let's get started. My healing journey, how I came out of the darkness and into the light. So I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in 2017, and I was terrified. It was a shock to me. I didn't even realize that leukemia was something that happened to real people. I thought it was something that only happened in movies. So to find out that I had it, I didn't even know how to react. I was in complete shock. I went through several rounds of chemotherapy, a total of 7, and I did 5 rounds of radiation throughout my treatment. My treatment lasted about 3 years, and I am still technically on treatment for something called graft versus host disease. That came from my bone marrow transplant, which was chemo number 6. This is when my immune system was replaced by my lovely sister's immune system. She was my donor. And then I relapsed. I call it a relapse, other people don't. But I said that I relapsed. I had these sarcomas. There was a big bump on the side of my head, and there was a bump on my chest, and there was another one that we couldn't see that was on my spine and causing shooting pains to go down my right leg. I was rushed to the hospital about 2.5 hours away in an ambulance. And I went, and that was when I started all of my radiation treatments. That was for the sarcomas. As soon as I was done with the radiation, they said that I needed more chemotherapy. I did not want to get more chemotherapy, but my husband and I decided to listen to the doctors this time. We went through the last round of chemo. They told me that it would be safe, that I would be okay, that I would get through it just fine. I spent the majority of my time during this chemo in the ICU. I had terrible reaction from the radiation that I had just received. So that, along with the chemo, was very terrifying, and I almost died. After that, my doctor told me that she wanted me to go on a chemo that I call forever chemo. It's basically a chemotherapy that they put you on, a low dose of it for the rest of your life. And my body and my entire being said no. This was probably the first time that I knew how to actually listen to my body, even though I didn't quite understand what was happening, but I knew intuitively that I did not need nor want any more chemotherapy. I said no to my doctor. I fired her. I hired a new doctor and went on a raw vegan retreat with my husband with the blessing of my new doctor, as long as I got lab tests done while I was gone. So, I just believe that with every hard time we go through, the universe and God provides us with assistance along the way. My angels and guides along the way were my first nurse was Alex. She was a very sweet, young, blonde nurse that I just got along with right away. She was very sweet. I got to stay in one of the nicest suites. I lucked out in that way, and that helped with my mood and my ability to survive this. I also had a few other nurses in that same area of the hospital that were pretty amazing. And I don't know what I would have done without them during this first bout of chemo. My second run of chemo was harder. I was having a harder time with it. I couldn't believe that I had relapsed. there was this woman that was teaching a journaling class, and no one was coming to the journaling class one day, including me. I wasn't feeling well. Well, she, being the kind soul that she is, offered to come and do a private journaling session with me. And she helped me journal through some things that I was dealing with and release some things, and we did a meditation together. And she was just so healing and wonderful, and the meditation was beautiful. I remember in the meditation, she told me that I was to imagine that I was on a bridge. And she told me that somebody that cares about me is going to be on that bridge. And what surprised me is that I saw Jesus Christ. At the time, and still kinda, I'm not super into Christianity as I was when I was younger, but I was surprised to see Jesus Christ standing in front of me. And she said that Jesus Christ hands you a gift, or the person hands you a gift. And he handed me some doves. And I didn't know what that meant. When I shared it with my dad, he said he knew what it meant. I think it was something about love or peace. I don't quite remember, but regardless, the meditation and the journaling brought me so much peace and happiness that I was able to get through at least the rest of that day, which was pretty amazing. There was a Reiki practitioner who was one of the chaplains at the church, and she would come regularly and perform Reiki on me. And it was extremely calming and wonderful, and I will never forget her. And because of her, I went and learned Reiki. I took a class and I got my certification in Reiki healing. Now I perform distance Reiki healings on friends and family and others that want it. And it always goes really well. I obviously had lots of close friends and family who showed up during this time. Everyone that I thought cared about me basically did and showed up and came and did what they could. Some people didn't live close, so they weren't there as often as I would have liked, but they sent me love in every way that they could. I did not feel unloved during this process, that's for sure. The Optimum Health Institute is where my husband and I went on our vegan raw retreat. So at the Optimum Health Institute, they focus on the mind, body, and soul. And I wanted to do this to detox from the chemotherapy because it was very, very hard on my whole system and my whole being. So at this place, all they give you are raw, organic, vegan foods, no sugar, no salt, no oil, no coffee, no alcohol. And it was very hard to get used to at first when you're used to eating lots of salty food and lots of oil and sugars and all of that stuff. It is just, I mean, I was already eating pretty healthy, but I hadn't cut any of those things from my diet except for coffee and alcohol. So it was very difficult to switch to just eating these whole foods, but they made it as exciting as possible. So we would have salads for breakfast, which was super weird to me at the time. And I probably wouldn't do it on my own. If I ever went back to this place or a place similar, I would eat salad again for breakfast, of course, but not on my own. So that was kind of strange. Our dressings were literally pureed vegetables, and we were allowed to use dried herbs and spices to spice up our meals, which was helpful, but didn't really, satiate the way that you would want. So we did this for, it took about a week or two before we were finally craving the food. I was starting to crave cucumbers pretty regularly, and my husband was craving tomatoes. And eventually we had our favorite meals there, and we were there for a total of 3 weeks. And during this time, there were classes to learn about the foods we were eating and why we were eating them and why we were not eating the foods that were not allowed. And we also took a lymphatic exercise class every day. At the time, I was in a wheelchair, and so it was very hard for me to do a lot of exercises at first. I was doing them all in my chair. Eventually, I was able to stand up, and eventually, I was able to walk around. And the interesting thing is that we were working on mindset stuff, and I had just recently had a session with a counselor at this place. And I just remember I got up out of my chair and I walked. It wasn't very far, guys, but I walked from about, I don't know, let's just say it was like 30 feet from my door to the room where we ate food. And I was just shocked by that, but it was all mindset. I was like, I can walk. I can start walking now. I do not need to be in a wheelchair. All it took was me saying that and accepting it. And then I got up and walked. And then from then on, I continued to eat this amazing food. I continued my mindset work. I continued meditation. I continued exercising these lymphatic exercises. And now I could do most of them on my feet. I could walk. They did walks around the center, and I could do that slowly, but I could do it. And there was this thing that they would do. They would freestyle dance at the end of some of the workouts, and I would always just kind of watch or stand on the side. And towards the end of these weeks, I finally was like, I can do this. I can dance. So I did it. I got up and I danced. I danced with my husband. I danced with the other people. It was so fun, and I felt amazing. And during this time, we spent time getting rid of negative thoughts and beliefs. We got rid of all of those processed, nasty foods that we eat. We indulged in meditation, and we had sound healing, and we had yoga, and we had stretching. And I found my first reason to live. And the reason why I call it my first reason to live is because after that, I found many more. But while I was at this Optimum Health Institute, there were lots of chances to meditate, and it was encouraged often. My sister had just had a baby while I was going through treatment. Her name is Rowan, and she's my little niece. And I just loved her so much, and I was having these visions of seeing her grow up, seeing her get married, seeing her happy, and I wanted to be there to see that. And one of the days that, they give you a chance to share your story, I think it was on Friday mornings. And so I got up and I shared, and I told everybody that, I thought I was going to die. And I was just waiting to die until I realized that I have a reason to live. And it's to stay alive and see my sister and nephew grow up. My sister, my niece and nephew grow up and see the kind of people that they become. So throughout this time, I kind of went through a spiritual awakening. It first started right before I got diagnosed. I started looking into the law of attraction. So that was sort of my first introduction to spiritual things besides Christianity. Growing up, I was very Christian and very into all of that. And then I started looking into esoteric things like UFOs and spirits and spirit guides and angels and all sorts of things like that. And then all of these things started opening up to me. And like I said, I got my I became a certified Reiki practitioner while I was going through my bone marrow transplant treatment. I eventually joined an online healing group called Healers Rising. This group is literally full of amazing healers. I mean, I recommend just being a part of their group. It's just there's so much support there and so many amazing healers. And then I took a class called Decodes, and I learned a new modality of healing, and my confidence just flew through the roof. I can tell you, like, I was not in a good place after going through all these treatments and having all of my body changes. I was having a really hard time. But when I went through this Decodes course and I learned this new modality of healing, myself and others, I just realized that I I can do this, that I'm awesome, I'm good, you know? So that was huge for me. I started to heal myself and others by using what I had learned in Decodes and in Reiki. I learned the importance of moving regularly to keep your lymph nodes from getting clogged and causing disease, and also to keep your body strong and nimble. I learned the importance of regularly detoxing the body. I do that regularly myself, about every 2 to 3 months. And eventually I learned how to love myself again through all of these body changes. So I'm going to show you, I'm in the way here. I'm going to move myself. There we go. All right, so I went through a lot of body changes throughout this process, and some of them still kind of embarrass me, to be honest. And my body is not even, well, it's getting there, but it's not very close to where it was before. So I still look very different than I used to. This is a photo of me after my first chemotherapy. And I am obviously bald. I lost my hair and I lost a bunch of weight. I had asked my husband to take this picture of me meditating by a tree. This is my favorite tree. We actually recently moved, so that tree is no longer within my vicinity, but I used to love hanging out by that tree. And then that's a picture of me after I got my hair back, but I had relapsed. So I'm back in the hospital and about to lose my hair again. So here I had lost my hair again, and now I'm gaining it back. So there's a little bit of fuzz there. That's me and my husband. Here this was during my worst chemo, the one where I almost died. And so I've lost my hair again. I've lost a ton of weight. That's my husband there. And this is for my sister's wedding. She was so sweet. She had her wedding at the hospital because she was worried that I was going to die and wasn't going to be able to be in her wedding. And so she had her wedding at the hospital, and I can't thank her enough for that. This is a photo of me after the retreat. I still don't have much for hair, so I'm wearing a chemo hat. I'm with my friends, and I'm still kind of in a wheelchair on and off. So after all of that, I started getting symptoms from something called graft versus host disease. And this happens after you have a transplant, a bone marrow transplant. So basically my sister's cells were attacking me, and because of that, I was getting sores in my mouth. It was hard to eat. I was having, that was the main thing that was happening. I can't remember what else. Oh, my eyes were really dry. And anyways, the doctor prescribed high-dose prednisone. And at the time, I had no idea what long-term high-dose prednisone does to the body. And man, I wish that I had researched it, because I would have just dealt with the pain I was experiencing in my mouth until I got home to find a different treatment, because this is what happened. I went from 97 pounds after my worst chemotherapy to 170 pounds. 97 pounds to 170. That is the highest weight I've ever been in my life. I am 5 feet 4 inches tall. So this is what I looked like from shoulders up. I also had a massive belly underneath there. There might be another picture where it shows that, but it doesn't matter. I was huge. As you can see, even now, my face is basically shrunken down quite a bit. But this was high-dose prednisone. And I highly, highly recommend that if somebody says you should be on high-dose prednisone long-term, try to find a different treatment before you go for it. It can be life-saving, but for me, it was not worth going through these body changes. self-love, how to fall in love with yourself. So first of all, this is how I fell back in love with myself. I stopped comparing myself to others because what I realized is that I kept on thinking, well, that person's so beautiful, and that person's so perfect, and that person's life is so perfect, and that person's healthier than me, and that person doesn't have these problems, and that person didn't gain weight, and that person went on prednisone and then got thin right away. Like I had to stop doing that because it wasn't helping me at all. It was just making me feel worse. So I stopped comparing myself to people because it's my own journey. I have my own journey. I have my own body, and my body is not the same as other people's. I let go of societal and media-driven ideas of beauty. I had to. If you think about it, there are so many people out there that don't look like the perfect idea of what societal media thinks of as beauty. How awful is that to feel like you are not beautiful because you don't look like that person in the magazine or that person on the TV? That is extremely unfair for most people on this planet and makes us all feel like crap. So I said, you know what? Goodbye. I am beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone has beauty in them. Everyone has beauty on the outside. Everyone has beauty on the inside. There's really, like, in a way, no such thing as beauty. Like, we're all just beautiful, right? Like the societal ideas of beauty, they don't really exist, at least not in my periphery. So remember that your value has nothing to do with how you look. And then I offer this journal prompt to anybody that feels the need to do it. Write down everything that makes you valuable as a human being and avoid anything to do with looks. I really recommend that you try that. I had to give myself grace and allow myself to make mistakes. We all have low days. We all have days that we're not perfect. We all have days that are harder than others. And so we just have to allow those days to happen and just do better the next day, do better the next week. Whenever you kind of come out of your slump or out of your depression or whatever it is. I know that we all kind of go through phases. Sometimes that phase lasts a month. Sometimes that phase lasts a week. Sometimes that phase lasts a day. It just depends. So just let yourself feel the way you need to feel. Pull yourself out of it as soon as you can, and then just do better next time. But don't worry about it. Make mistakes. It's fine. Process emotions utilizing emotional release techniques. So I am going to walk you quickly through an exercise that I use very often to release emotions from my body. So close your eyes. I like to put my hands over my heart when I meditate or when I'm just wanting to feel love. And I just want you to imagine all of the areas in your body that are holding on to emotion. I usually do this with a specific emotion, but you can do it a general way too. So we're just going to do a general one today. Where in your body are you holding on to emotion? Emotion that's not serving you. Ask your body to light up those areas. You can often feel like tension or maybe a discomfort, a pain. In any of those areas that you're feeling that as they light up and your body shows them to you, I want you to imagine that that energy is flowing out of you. It can look like light energy or little bubbles of energy just leaving your body, just leaving all those areas. Just let that energy go until those areas of pain or tension start to release. As you feel those areas release, let that tension go. Your body stretch. And as those bubbles of energy leave your body, I just want you to imagine that they are dissipating into nothing. And anything that's left over goes straight to the sun and is transmuted into love energy to send out to the world. And if you need more time, take all the time that you need. So for now, I'm going to take a deep breath. Breathe in positive energy. Breathe out negative energy. And then that's that. I hope that was helpful for you. I actually feel lighter right now. So I hope you feel the same if you did the exercise with me. I want you to be aware of psychic attack and protect your energy. This is something that I learned during my classes. And this is just one of those amazing, amazing things to learn for yourself. If you are starting to feel off or weird or like really angry for no reason or really sad for no reason or just feeling strange, it's very possible that it's not even your energy. So the first thing that I always do, and the first thing I recommend all of my clients is say something like back to sender. So you're sending that energy back to the person that it came from. This energy can come to you in a variety of ways. It could either be that you were walking through like a grocery store or somewhere with a lot of people and you just picked up on maybe a few people's bad energy or maybe one person's bad energy and it sort of just rubbed up against your energy and you took that home with you. In this case, you're just sending that energy back. When I come back from the grocery store, if I remember, I try to say, all of the energy that I've picked up throughout the day, please return to the people that it belongs to. All of my energy, please return to me. It always makes me feel a lot more balanced. Now, if you feel like you have a psychic attack, which is more like somebody is ruminating about you, somebody is thinking about you, and they're mad or they're upset about something, and as they're having that thought or that energy is kind of pinging you, and it's sitting in your field and it's making you feel weird, that's when you have to say back to sender, or you can say all of you go back to you. And you can really say anything as long as you set the intention that you're sending the energy back to the person it belongs to. This is a huge thing. You could be feeling pain. This has happened to me literally several times. You could be feeling pain that you've never felt before, like a weird, like, I don't know, pain in your arm or something, or a pain in your back. And you could be like, oh, wait a second, is that even my pain? And be like, back to sender. And all of a sudden the pain will just disappear. And I'm dead serious. I know that there's probably people on this call that don't believe me, but I'm dead serious. This has happened to me several times where I have noticed a pain and I'm like, well, that's really weird. Where did that come from? And I say back to sender and it's just gone because it was not mine. Okay? Huge, huge thing to put into practice. How to build self-confidence with self-care. When you're feeling low, change your posture. Sit up straight or do a power pose. Power! You can do any kind of pose that makes you feel powerful. But this one has been like scientifically proven to make you feel more powerful. Do things that make you feel good and confident. That could be taking a shower, shopping for clothes that make you feel really good and confident, doing your hair the way that makes you feel good, going for a run, going for a walk, drawing, anything that you're good at. Maybe you're really good at something, just do that a lot. Do things that you are good at that make you feel really good. Put yourself first. So we talked about this earlier, but you must take care of yourself before you take care of others. Taking care of yourself is going to make it so that you can fully show up to take care of your loved ones or your friends or your family or whomever needs your help. So always make sure that you are ready to do that and you can show up fully before you do it. Like I would never do a healing session if I was feeling off, if I was feeling sick, if I was feeling like I didn't have the energy to do it, I wouldn't. Okay. So just make sure to do that. Change your self-talk. Pay attention to your thoughts and reframe. So like if you're talking to yourself in your mind, you notice like you're saying over and over like, oh, I'm not enough. Oh, I can't do this. What if I can't do this? Oh my gosh, and you start to spiral. Just try to stop that in its tracks and be like, no, I can do this. I'm good. You know, I can do this. I have to do that every single day. And it takes a while to reframe your thoughts. So you just want to keep doing it. Notice and do it again. Notice and do it again. And notice and do it again. And just keep doing it. One really great practice is to spend time every day writing in a journal about how amazing you are and what kind of person that you want to be and what kind of life you want to have, and like all of these super positive things, and just be that person, be that life, because that's going to make you feel so confident and so wonderful and make you a really powerful person. Find your purpose. It should be something that makes you feel great. So I know a lot of clients have come to me and they think that they want to do a certain thing. It doesn't make them feel super good. I had somebody that wanted to write a book, and the whole time she was kind of like not excited at all about it. And I told her, like, if you're not excited about this, maybe you should be doing something else. And she said, no, I'm called to do this. I have to do this. But honestly, if you're called to do something, it should be aligned with you. You should feel amazing about it. If you feel weird about it, you're probably not actually called to do it. That's my personal opinion on that. So some ideas for self-care. I'm just going to read through these. And if you have done them or haven't done them, like, take some time to do these. I would say at least every once a week, if you can, like, take some time. Surround yourself with people that make you feel good. Call your favorite friend. Call the people that make you feel amazing. Take a walk in nature whenever you get a chance. The most amazing feeling in the world is just being among the trees. Soak your feet or take an Epsom salt bath. Get a massage or facial. Go on a mini vacay or day trip. Try a new type of movement. Color or doodle. Do a guided meditation. Do something you are good at. Learn a new skill. Call a good and supportive friend. Relax with tea and a good book. Feed yourself healthy, nourishing food. Spend some time releasing stuck emotions in the body. Change up your routine. Get away from screens for a while. Like a screen retreat. Like, even if it's just a couple of hours, like, put away all of your screens and don't touch them for a little while. Lessening the amount of screen time that you have can just do wonders for your health. You'd be very surprised. Find a way to give back. Help someone out, whether it be a friend, a loved one, or somebody random. Do a random act of kindness. And practice manifesting. So we're on to law of attraction manifesting, because it's one of my favorite things. Basic concept is that like attracts like. If you think positive, you will bring positive things into your life. When you think negative, you will bring negative things into your life. We manifest all the time without knowing it. I manifested a house, healing, a job, money, etc. So you might be wondering, how did I do this? Let me walk you through what I do. The very basics of manifesting. Step 1, ask. So step 1 is do a universal ask. Step 2, visualize, write, draw, find pictures. Step 3, take action. Step 4, trust and have faith and believe. Step 5, adjust, make sure you really want what you asked for, and then do it again. How I incorporated these tools to get a job. I used the manifesting steps to start asking for the perfect job that was in alignment with what I wanted to do. I took action by starting to call around to different holistic doctors' offices and reached out to a Vivo who had a career counselor position open. I took time to make sure I had found a good fit. I worked on my mental health by attending therapy sessions. I worked on my physical strength by walking and doing light weight lifting. I utilized healthy eating, meditation, and energy healing to heal to the point that I felt able to re-enter the workforce. Now, this was huge, you guys, because I did not think I was ever going to get back to work at all. And so I was finally able to find a job that fit my needs as far as how I am doing with my healing so far. And it was perfectly manifested. It practically fell into my lap. Ending up in an unexpected place. So I thought that the best job for me would be in holistic healing or Reiki. And I did not think I was ready for a full-time job. So I was very concerned about all of these positions I was finding being full-time. So what seemed like the answer to my ask was this part-time position as a Vivo that, like I said, seemed to fall right into my lap. Worried and concerned due to previous work traumas, I did not know how this was going to go. I was worried that my coworkers were going to be mean. I was worried that my boss was going to be mean. I've had terrible experiences in the past with different places of work. And so I was very, very concerned about my workplace environment. However, it turned out perfectly because my coworkers are absolutely wonderful and my boss is wonderful. It was completely unexpected, but yet a perfect fit. So be ready for unexpected but wonderful things to enter your life when you start to believe that they can happen. And be open to the universe bringing you things in ways that you did not expect. So if you have any questions for me, please put them in the comments and I will answer them as soon as I can. And if you are interested in seeing more content from me or interested in healing sessions or programs going forward, you can click on the links below in the description. And if you are interested in seeing more videos from me, please click the subscribe button and the little bell notification. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.